Now I've got a new hopper for you today. There's nothing really revolutionary about this pattern, but I do use one technique in this that it's pretty good to know how to do, and it's using foam in 2 different colors. And what I've been doing for the last several years, picked up one of these packs from Walmart. This is all kinds of colors in here. It's probably about $6. And as far as I can tell, I mean, they're only one thickness, but it's about 1.5 millimeters thick. And that's some pretty good material just using it straight up as is. But if you want to make these little cool 2-body colored hoppers, what you'll do, I take a couple of pieces and cut them down because I don't need the whole piece. And then some of this contact cement. This is an E6000. It's pretty volatile stuff, pretty strong stuff. So I'll just kind of put it on one side, then spread it around, make sure I get it totally covered, and then put your pieces together. You might want to lay it on something flat and then put a book over it, let it sit overnight. Just be careful, these fumes are kind of toxic, and I wouldn't do this on a dining room table or anything really nice because the fumes could just mess with the surface a little bit. But then after you've got that, just take some dies. And you can certainly use scissors to cut out your hopper shapes, but River Runs Creations makes this pretty cool die set. And this is a generic hopper one right here that I use for a lot of my patterns. It comes in 3 different sizes, but here is another pretty cool tip. I picked up this thing from Amazon. This is a leather punch toolkit, really. It's got 52 dies in it. And there's about a dozen of them that, make pretty decent fly bodies. Now, I'll put a link to that in the description, but after you've got your 2 pieces of foam glued together, and then either using scissors or your dies, it makes it really easy to just cut a bunch of bodies at one time. So that's what I did last night. And this pattern that I'm going to tie for you, I did tie a couple of these last week. I tied them in pink, and I did have a little bit of luck with them out on the North Branch of the Potomac. So I think this is going to be a pretty productive pattern. So here's where I normally say, there it is in the vise, but I don't have one to show you today. So, I tied 2 of them last week, and I think one of them is probably in a tree, and one of them is in my fly box, which is probably a little bit roughed up. So the hook I'm tying this on, this is a size 8. It's a 3X long, fairly generic curved shank hook. It's the J. Stockard Model 430, which is one of my go-to hooks for hoppers and a lot of streamers and nymphs, actually. So black thread, we'll catch it in somewhere here in the back third or so. Now here's the piece of foam I was telling you about. This is just 2 pieces of Walmart foam glued together and then cut with that River Runs Creation die. So there's kind of some natural indentations where you should put your thread wrap. So that first one, we're gonna go right here. And you can put this one fairly tight, several wraps. And you might want to lift it up and go under it and then over it. Do that a couple times. That might help keep it from spinning around. You don't have to worry too much about it spinning after you get a couple more segments tied in. So what I'm going to do here, I'm going to advance my thread just a little bit, and I'm going to put a small segment in between that big bulb right there. So we'll do this, and you can make this one fairly tight as well. So you see that? Now we've got kind of 2 body segments, and I'll go forward. Let's go one more wrap in there. And now I'm going to go forward again, and this segment I'm going to catch in right here. But this one I'm not going to do real tight. These are kind of loose wraps because if you bunch it down too tight, it'll prop your wing up just a little bit too much. So I'm going to kind of leave it right there. We can go ahead and go forward and then catch this little nub right there, and that's really going to secure this foam on. But we do want our thread back here where we're going to catch in our wing and our legs. And my wing, it's just a pretty small tuft of squirrel tail, and I'm not even putting it in my stacker. I want it to be a little bit disheveled. So I'm going to lay it right there, and I'm going to go with kind of loose wraps right here. So that's kind of laying down. If I put some really tight wraps right there, it might prop it up more than I want. So that's going to work right there. Now here's something that I've been doing. Cut this not as short as you can get it, but kind of short. So now we can just see those little nubs right there. We can put some thread wraps in them and in between them, and that's going to really help hold this squirrel in place. Now, a drop of super glue right here would probably be smart, but you know, I've never had one of these fall apart on me, so I think we're going to be just fine like that. And where the thread is right now, that's where we're going to catch in the legs. But before I do that, I'm going to advance my thread and catch in my brown hackle. And I think the hackle color is really your choice. The ones I tied last week, I used grizzly, but they were also a pink body. So let's go ahead and secure this. And I'm using, this is brown, but it's a furnace, so these feathers are kind of short, so I've caught in 2 of them. And with enough wraps, I should have pretty good hackle density when I wrap this hackle up through there. But before I do that, I'm going to take my thread back here to right where that squirrel is caught in, kind of that little segment right there. Now I'm going to catch in some brown rubber legs. And I think whatever color you want would be fine here. I'm going with brown because that's, you know, what my body is kind of made out of. So I've got 1 strand, and I'm going to just put 2 loose wraps right there. Now I will try to position these legs before I really secure them in, kind of over to the side and a little bit off to the bottom. Now this one is I'm kind of grabbing that squirrel, but we'll be able to make it work. So there we go. All right, well, that's a little bit of a mess right there. So let's try to get that back. Okay, those legs right there are gonna be fine. Now I kind of hold them, and I'll just put a few wraps right here. Not real tight, just kind of medium wraps. Enough wraps to really hold those legs in place. Now we'll take our thread back up front to where we're going to wrap this hackle and finish wrapping the hackle. So I haven't opened up that front band of those legs yet. If I did, they would just probably get a little bit in the way. So I want to do that last. But with these 2 furnace feathers, I can probably get 5 or 6 wraps and get plenty of front hackle up here. So let's go ahead and secure these. Couple of wraps, and now before I snip that excess, I'm going to lick my fingers, pull everything back a little bit, and just try to create a little flat spot for my whip finish. Okay, that should work right there. And now we can snip this excess. Then we'll open up these legs right here, and then trim them to size. Maybe make some adjustments if we need. Yeah, I like my front legs a little bit shorter than the back, so let's go ahead and snip those a little bit. And then the back legs, maybe just a little bit shorter right here. So there you go, my little funky bi-colored hopper, which I think it's gonna be a decent pattern for me. So I appreciate you watching, everybody. Y'all take care, and we'll see you next time.